My name is Kenzie Bach. I'm the Boston Housing Authority Administrator, and it's my honor to MC today. This is a really special event for all of us. I will say that when I first came to work at the BHA in 2017, which was just about 6 months after HUD made the award, the Choice Neighborhoods Award, to make this possible, Whittier was still all brick. We had less than half as many apartments here as we do now. Miss Stephanie Thomas, who's sitting in the front, was our guide. And you know, there was just a whole village wrapping around this idea, right, which at the time was just an idea and a dream that so many people, so many leaders in Roxbury had come together to enable. Now Mayor Janie was actually a candidate, I think, in that year in 2017 running to represent this area. So there's many, many people in this room who have been involved in this for a decade or longer. And so I just want to lift up the fact that this is really like a day of coming full circle for the whole village that's gathered in this room and beyond. And it's really, to me, it's a demonstration of the fact that, you know, it takes a village to do something big like this, whether you're talking about, you know, the city, which put a bunch of early money into this project and political backing, the BHA, the federal government, HUD, that came with $30 million to make it possible, the state, which came with, I think, another almost $25 million and a whole bunch of LIHTC. And so, you know, so many different hands, but also so many community organizations. I'll shout them all out over the course of today, but definitely I see Reverend Bodrick from the American Cities Coalition TAC, which was like with us really early. Charlotte, who's behind him, was a motive force for us. You know, Northeastern was our anchor institution partner, helping us make this application. I think John Tobin, Councilor Tobin, is in the room. Yes, there he is in the back. You know, you're going to hear in a little bit from Mayor Janie, who's now at Empath, which was a huge people partner of ours. And like I said, many, many more who I will be listing as you hear from everybody else. But I just, you know, to me, it's not just that it takes a village, but it's that when you have that village, so much more is possible than, you know, people might dream of. And we don't have to make choices between all the great outcomes. So, you know, I was just talking with Reverend Culpepper about the fact that Whittier missed out on the original Hope 6 grants that enabled public housing redevelopment. And at the time, that might have felt like a disappointment, but in a funny way, that was a secret blessing because the Hope 6 grants decreased the number of affordable apartments on their sites, whereas for Whittier, we replaced 200 deeply affordable public housing units with 210 deeply affordable replacement units, and then added another 279 units, about, you know, 100 of which are low-income housing tax credit units. You know, you've got another 80 odd that are like workforce housing, and another 81, I think, of market. So like truly kind of a space where everybody can be part of it. And we're super proud that you know, a majority of the residents who were living at Whittier before the redevelopment chose to come back. But we're also super proud of, you know, we had 4 Whittier families that bought homes through the support of this coalition coming out of that. And so, you know, even though we're thrilled to have people back, we're also thrilled to have those new homeowners in the community. And there's so many stories like that. And it just really emphasizes the fact that when we all come together, we can do incredible things. So, you know, I'm like, grateful to get to welcome you all. I also want to thank Aaron Gorenstein and POAH for really welcoming all of us in this event. But the real right person to welcome us is a resident here. And so I want to call up to the podium Hakika Greaves, who's a resident here of the AMP at Flat 9 at Whittier.
Hello, good morning. My name is Hakika Greaves, and I have been living at the AMP for 2 months and 3 weeks. I wanted to live here because of the vicinal location, neighboring major hospitals, such as the Boston Children's Hospital, which is beneficial for me because I have a 2-year-old daughter, and I work at the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute right down the street. And I used to live in Boston, and then I moved to Brockton, but now I'm back in Boston because Brockton is a great city, but I really love Boston because Boston provides Boston provides assistance for all ages under any circumstance, such as financial resources, phenomenal school systems, colleges, universities, hospitals, reliable public transportation, jobs, childcare, the pre-K program, which I applied to last week on January 6th. And Boston also provide great library resources, and that's what drew me back to Boston, because when my daughter didn't have childcare, I used to go to the library for the events that they have there, such as the free musical events. We were able to borrow books and read books there and have story time with the librarians. And also, the library introduced me and my daughter to the Countdown to Kindergarten program, which helps to guide students, not students, but newborns and infants and toddlers into preparing for kindergarten. And my daughter really loved it because it was a safe space for her. And I know for a fact that Boston is a thriving city because I attended schools such as the Dearborn, the John D. O'Brien, right behind here, School of Math and Science, and also attended the Roxbury Community College. And I worked with the Boston Public Health Commission during high school through the Boston Public School job summer programs as a peer leader. And I also worked at the Mass General Brigham's down the street for 9 years. And I started there at 18 right out of high school. And I also applied to AMP because it will not only give me the access to the resources that Boston offers, but also substantial amenities, clean, safe, and a well-managed environment. And the staff here has been tremendously supportive, and they are always willing to aid tenants through any situation by being supportive and very responsive, having constant communication, by always giving us updates and reminders on opportunities that the community have here. And they're always coming to events here that I have attended with other tenants, and they really love it here. And they're also willing to answer any questions or concerns that we may have. And there's a quote by Oliver Wendell Holmes, Sr., that states, "Home is where love resides, or where we love is home, home that our feet may leave, but not our hearts." I envision that while I live here, AMP will assist me with a plan for my daughter's future, where she can have access to quality education and a happy place to call home. Moreover, I will continue to have access to good job opportunities. So that's why I'm here, and I'm excited to live at the AMP, and I hope to be here for a long time.
Thank you so much, Hakika, for that amazing speech, which is going to set a really high bar for all the other speakers. But next, I want to invite up to the podium. We're so lucky at the Boston Housing Authority. The reality is that we think of ourselves as an institution with a ton of potential to extend our mission of housing Boston, of housing more low-income Bostonians, keeping them anchored here in the city, and also making room for thriving mixed-income communities at the same time. But the truth is that a housing authority has no chance of doing that work without incredibly strong backing from its city. And we are so lucky to have that incredibly strong backing. It's been a theme across a number of mayoral administrations. It was also true when Mayor Janey was in. But we've been so grateful every step of the way through the first term and now into the second for the steadfast support of Mayor Michelle Wu.
Thank you, Kenzie. Good morning, everyone. Or is it afternoon? It must be afternoon. Oh, morning. Good morning for 30 more minutes. Let's all keep a good morning. First of all, what an honor and exciting day. Whenever I see that the speaking lineup includes Ms. Crystal Cornegay and Roger Brown, all the way to this incredible delegation, our Congresswoman, City Councilor, Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, Councilor and Reverend Culpepper, City Councilor at Large Ruthie Lujan, State Senator Liz Miranda. It's going to be a great day. And then on top of that, I hope someone recorded Hakika's remarks here, because I am going to take it and play it as the commercial for Boston, right? This is what we're trying to do here. And what you just somehow packed into a few minutes of what a lifetime in a village looks like, what it means to grow up here, to give back here, you connected just about every city department and the work and the dreams that we're trying to make real. Thank you for being such an inspiration, and thank you for fighting to come back home, because you are home. We're going to keep you here home for a very long time, for your whole family. So thank you. To all of our hosts here, our incredible residents, and everyone who helped make this home. My predecessor in this role, the trailblazing, fearless warrior, Madam Mayor Kim Janey, in continuing to do the good work and always make us just look like we're dressing like schlubs compared to her. Thank you for all that you do and for your fierce belief and faith and vision to get this done in your tenure. Thank you to all of the residents here and all the many, many partners that our wonderful administrator just mentioned. I want to give a special shout out to the city departments who are in the room, who alongside the state have been working hard to be able to show up to these events with our partners and cut ribbons and welcome new families. So our Chief of Housing, Sheila Dillon, is in the house. Thank you, Sheila. We have been doing everything we can on housing, and it's tough times out there to build, to make these steel prices with tariffs and everything come together. But what the City of Boston has been able to show is that even with everything we've experienced in the last 4 years, we built more affordable housing than in a generation, than the last 25 years, because of a dedicated focus on putting together these pieces. I know our Chief of Community Engagement, Brianna Malore, is in the house. She's always in the back engaging the community, alongside our neighborhood liaison, Asha Janae from Roxbury, and our Director of Neighborhood Services, Mohammed Missouri. I saw also Kate Bennett is in the house, who we still claim. Now a board member, but always and forever City of Boston family. And thank you again to all of my colleagues in service who have, through thick and thin, through each one of these panels and all the various phases, been steadfast about the need to get this done and do it bigger and better than anywhere else could dream possible in the rest of the country. We're also really excited to have HUD leader Michael Banks here. Thank you so much for what you do, and thank you so much to all of the staff and the teams who are here. Look, this is the final ribbon cutting on the redevelopment of the space. It's a special day. It has meant not just a sustained effort that you can hear from even the mention of all the finance. It really is like rocket science, putting together these housing developments with this tax credit and that source and that timeline and everything. Every needle needed to be threaded exactly perfectly, and then to make sure that most of all, residents could be supported in returning, in being connected, even as all of this disruption was happening. It wouldn't have happened without advocacy from our federal delegation, funding from the HUD Choice Neighborhoods team, leadership from our Congresswoman fighting for every dollar to come back to the MA 7th and to the City of Boston. Thank you so much, Congresswoman Pressley. And partnership from the city, the state, and community organizations like POAH and Madison Park Development Corporation, TAC, and so many others. To take 200 units of decades-old housing and then create 472 new homes, families who could then forever be rooted here in our city, is twice as much space for new memories that will last a lifetime and generations, twice as many opportunities for play dates, for kids to run through the hallways, catch up on the roof deck, twice as many chances for neighbors to know each other and run over because you have that one missing ingredient that someone else got your back in the community. And these units are accessible to everyone. 210, as you heard, deeply affordable, and 262 for moderate income earners. That is part of making Boston a home for everyone. We're trying to do this everywhere across the city with this partnership. Even as it is tough going, this city is finding ways to move forward. And most of all, we don't stop at just the buildings and the housing itself. As you heard from Hakika, it's the libraries next door, it's the schools, it's the community opportunities, the jobs, all of that coming together. So I want to thank all of these leaders who focus on doing all of that, everything, everywhere, all at once, because we need each other in this moment, and we need every Boston resident and family to be in the fight of building the city that we know is possible. Finally, if I may take just a second to recognize someone who helped bridge this period and to make sure that the most important work happened of supporting our residents throughout this. Catherine DeCesare, could you come up? So through her work with Housing Opportunities Unlimited, she was the Boston Housing Authority's day-to-day contact to help during a very complex relocation process for all of our residents, supporting, coordinating, making sure that every family, as they were going through the moment of seeing what could come, but then needing to be guaranteed that it would come, it was Ms. DeCesare who played an important role supporting Whittier residents, helping families transition into the newly completed building, and her persistence, attention to detail, and commitment to resident dignity has made a lasting impact on households across the city. So this is just a small recognition from the city for what you've done to keep our residents in public.
Thank you so much, Mayor. And yes, thank you so much to all of our partners at Housing Opportunities Unlimited. Like I said, this was a real village. I think Kate was also mentioned. Kate used to be in my role, and even before that, she was helping to make this happen when Billy McGonigal led the Boston Housing Authority. And I always feel at events like this, like I can feel his presence here with us. He was just a huge advocate for transforming our communities so that public housing residents get the best because they deserve the best. But Kate is now actually at Madison Park Development Corporation, which is another partner in this. So we want to thank them as well. And another partner was Nuestra Comunidad Development Corporation. So this was really, like I said, and the Whittier Health Center, Streets Health Center. So just like any local community organization that you can think of, if you wonder whether they had a hand in Whittier, they absolutely did. Somebody who literally all of those organizations rely on day in and day out, and who we know is with us in spirit and fight and mentality, even when she's physically down in Washington, is our Congresswoman for the Massachusetts 7th, Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley. And so we're just so delighted that she could make time in the midst of this really significant weekend. We feel like it's the perfect way to kick off the weekend of events for the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. here in a Black neighborhood, celebrating this incredible investment. And it means so much for us to have another incredible Black leader from Boston here to speak at this moment. So, Congresswoman.
Administrator Bach, at the top of the program, you spoke about this all at one point was just a dream. So very apropos that we would come together on this day and that you would start there. And I just want to remind people that, all radical work does begin with a radical dream. And I'm so grateful to the dedicated neighbors and partners at every level that brought this dream to fruition. I was talking with some friends earlier today and said, I want us to get beyond just remembering profound words and quotes from Dr. King, but really reminding ourselves how he lived his life, what he fought for, what he died for. And so it's wonderful to be here in this full circle moment with community to see a dream actualized. And that is a testament and a credit to so many people who are in this room that I can see and that I can name, and people that are not in this room, but that it's important that we bring into the room. And so I do want to take a moment in honoring the great leadership of who was the president of the board for some 25 years, Stephanie Thomas. We are so grateful. It has been, more often than not, though, I would like to think that government always leads. More often than not, government responds, and it responds to pressure, and pressure from the will of the people. And so we thank you. And Ms. Thomas asked that we just take a moment to bring Bill McGonigal into the room, and I want to honor that. So we're just going to take a moment and center and remember Bill, who would be so proud and excited that this day has finally come. All right, thank you. But again, it's a joy and an honor to be here with all of you as we celebrate a powerful milestone, the completion and occupancy of the AMP at Flat 9. And I love that that is the titling because, Mayor Janey is someone who's a lover of history and especially Roxbury history. I know she appreciates that. This is named for the distinctive jazz chord that honors the musical heritage of Roxbury. It's a reminder that, history is not static. It is dynamic and all around us. In fact, even in our neighbors and in our neighborhoods. And so to celebrate this 172-unit mixed income development right here in the heart of our community, of course, I want to thank Roger Brown, Aaron Gornstein, the entire team at POAH for the invitation to join you here today and for your labor of love on behalf of our residents. Your work really reflects what it looks like to lead with intention and equity. Today is about more than bricks and mortar. Dr. King spoke about each person remembering their own somebodyness and that their life is significant and that it matters. Today is about dignity. Today is about stability. Today is about health. Today is about that which every person seeks and deserves, belonging. It also means so much to be back here because I had the honor of joining you for the groundbreaking of this project a few years ago. So to return now, not to imagine what could be, which is what we did that day, but to celebrate what is, feels deeply full circle and satisfying. It is a reminder that when we commit to community, when we invest in people, when we stay the course, we can turn vision into reality. Today stands truly as living proof that sustained advocacy, strong partnerships, and collective care can deliver real, tangible change for our families. So I want to lift up that collaboration that made this moment possible, from POAH to HUD to Mayor Janey to Mayor Wu to State Senator Miranda to Councilor Louis Jean to Councilor Culpepper to Bank of America to the BHA, and so many partners who believed in this vision and stayed committed to see it through. Your dedication is helping to ensure that future generations remain rooted right here in Roxbury. The right to safe, healthy, affordable housing is a fundamental human right, and yet every single day, my district office hears from families who are struggling, families facing displacement, skyrocketing rents, unsafe living conditions, and the crushing uncertainty of housing insecurity. We are navigating through a housing crisis, one of affordability, one of access, one of justice. And I will ask that you not take for granted that we do live in a city where we have a mayor where ribbon cutting like this is taking place today. There are cities navigating the same, challenging times, and they're not having these kind of ribbon cuttings. So it is a testament to the collaborative leadership and vision here in the city of Boston. Moments like today remind us that solutions are possible when we choose people over politics, when we invest in community, and when we refuse to accept displacement as inevitable. Since my time on the Boston City Council, I've worked alongside community leaders to fight for deep affordability in our neighborhoods, and in Congress, where I serve on the Financial Services Committee, I continue to advocate for robust federal investment in public housing infrastructure and for programs that empower residents not just to survive, but to thrive. And that is why organizations like POAH are so essential. Your mission to protect and preserve affordable, healthy homes while advancing racial equity and economic stability is exactly the kind of bold, people-centered leadership that this moment demands. The redevelopment of Whittier is not just about housing units. It's about building a community where families can plant roots, where children can grow with stability, where elders can age with dignity, and where neighbors feel connected and they feel seen. This development represents hope made visible. And while today we celebrate completion and occupancy, we also recommit ourselves to the ongoing work to protect public housing, to expand affordability, and to ensure that every person, regardless of zip code or income, has a place to call home. Everyone deserves more than shelter. They deserve a home, a place of refuge, a safe place to dream, to lay your head, to know that you're safe. I look forward to driving by here and seeing families thriving, businesses growing, community flourishing, and knowing that each of you played a role in making this possible. Thank you for being the model. Thank you for your belief in what our communities deserve. And thank you for the honor of being a part of this celebration today. We are overdue. We need some celebrating. So, thank you.
Thank you so much, Congresswoman, for those inspiring words. I want to briefly say a particular thank you to our Boston Housing Authority team that's worked on this. There are a number of folks standing way in the back there. I see Joe Bamberg. I see Amy Tran, Letitia Raymond. We have Wenda Tai, who's not with us anymore, did a ton of work on this. And then also our communications team, Brian Jordan, Emily Brown. This is just, I'm naming only a few people, but it's really been an all-agency effort for us. Not only the work of the team that I just named focused on the redevelopment itself, but also, working in partnership with HOU, the team on our side that does admissions and leased housing that really worked with all the Whittier families returning. Because that to the Boston Housing Authority is a really, really important piece of this redevelopment, and of any redevelopment we do, is making sure that it's for the people like Stephanie Thomas here, who advocate to make it happen, right? That when we get these funds and we get to do these big projects, that the people who benefit on the other end are those people who were the motive force. And that's something we're really proud of, and it takes a lot of work. So Katie McGonigal and Nancy Otero and the whole admissions and leased housing team, I just want to really thank everybody behind the scenes who made all that work happen on our side. But this redevelopment was a true partnership for us with POAH, Preservation of Affordable Housing, who, like I said, are our hosts here in these fabulous buildings today. We're so grateful. They're incredible partners. It's great for us to have a nonprofit, mission-driven partner in this kind of work, and that's really what they were. And so, thank you so much. I've already acknowledged Aaron Gorenstein, but speaking on behalf of POAH, we're going to hear from the managing director of real estate development at POAH, Roger Brown, who has been a huge motive force himself behind this project every step of the way. Roger Brown.
Bear with me for a minute. I'm going to read this because there's a lot of thoughts going through my head. I've been working on this since 2013, so. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here to celebrate the opening of the AMP at Flat 9. A milestone not just for this building, but for the long-term revitalization of this neighborhood and the Roxbury community. These days, every morning I wake up a little frightened to look at the newspaper, but one thought soothes me a little bit, and that thought comes from this quote: "The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice." That quote reminds us that progress rarely happens all at once. It happens through sustained effort, persistence, and the courage of communities who stand up for the future. Today's ribbon cutting at the AMP at Flat 9 is one of those moments where the long arc bends a little further toward justice, right here on Whittier Street in Roxbury. Roxbury has a long history of residents organizing to protect their community. In the 1960s, neighbors and community leaders came together to stop the construction of a proposed 6-lane highway that would have cut directly through this neighborhood. That movement, supported by institutions like our partner Madison Park and led by community residents, helped preserve Roxbury and established a lasting legacy of community-led planning. Today marks the third phase of a revitalization effort that began in 2013. But this is not an ending. It is the continuation of work rooted in the same spirit of community leadership and collective action. This effort was launched with the Last Choice Neighborhoods initiative grant awarded by the Obama administration. And that single federal investment has leveraged more than $300 million in private investment across these 3 on-site phases and multiple off-site projects, demonstrating what is possible when public investment follows community vision. The AMP reflects what that future looks like. It is mixed-income housing that anchors an inclusive community. At its core, it's affordable housing, but it is also a platform to support families, as you've heard about earlier, providing stability, opportunity, and a foundation to thrive. That vision only happens through partnership. I want to recognize Madison Park Development Corporation for its deep roots and leadership in Roxbury. We are also deeply grateful to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Mass Housing, and Bank of America for those crucial financial supports that made this redevelopment possible. But housing should also be a driver of economic opportunity. The AMP supports local businesses, creates jobs, and brings sustained investment back to Whittier Street. When affordable housing and mixed income housing is done right, it becomes a tool for community wealth building. This project would not exist without an extraordinary team, and I want to thank my friend Michael Liu and the architectural team for this beautiful design. And my friends, Tom, is that you back there? Hey, Tom Schultz from THC. And our friends at Demio for a wonderful execution on the construction side of things. I also want to recognize POAH Communities, the City of Boston, and the Boston Housing Authority for their partnership. I also want to acknowledge the confidence of the POAH Board of Directors, who authorized what at that time was the largest and riskiest project in POAH's history. That trust made this work possible. We honor leaders who guided this effort over the years, including the late Bill McGonigal, Kate Bennett, and Kinsey Bach, and the team that's carrying it through today. I want to recognize the POAH development team. This is not a one-man show. It's led by Mina Jacob. And her team, I want you to notice the theme here. Mina, Christelle Salinas, Muge Univer, Deanna Savage, and Amanda Wu, along with Corey Meehan. Some fierce and accomplished women whose dedication brought this building to life. Most importantly, this work belongs to the residents of Roxbury and to the residents of what was formerly known as the Whittier Street Public Housing. We honor the late Molly Battle, and thank Stephanie Thomas and the many resident leaders who continue to ensure revitalization means opportunity without displacement. The AMP shows what happens when we honor history, invest in people, and use affordable housing as a platform for family stability and economic opportunity, helping bend that long arc toward justice. So today we celebrate, not an ending, but the next chapter in a story shaped by community, courage, unfolding since 2013. Thank you for being part of it.
Thank you so much, Roger. And I left out of my staff shout-outs our General Counsel, Dean Papadimitriou. If you do anything this complicated, your General Counsel is very important. So, yeah, Dean, thank you. Yeah, exactly. Yes. Everyone should consider themselves thanked. Everyone should consider themselves thanked. However, we do tend to try to thank people directly when they dedicate large sums of money to a thing like this. And so I do just want to particularly list a few of the major sources for this project, and then you're going to hear from one of our key financial partners on just about everything that the Boston Housing Authority does, which is a lot. But I do just want to really acknowledge the Department of Housing and Urban Development, which, as has been mentioned, gave us this $30 million transformative grant that had that huge leverage impact. I'm not sure that if Regional Administrator Michael Banks has snuck in or not. You're welcome to come up and speak if so. But we were delighted to actually host him a few months ago here at the building as it was being finished off, and he has been a great partner to us over the last few months. And so just, really want to appreciate that the federal government, of course, should be playing a transformative role all the way down at the ground in local communities, and that this project is an example of it doing that. And we're very, very grateful. And so just want to thank on the HUD team, besides Administrator Banks, Ellen Bradley, Cara Norman, Nick Carolina, Tata Lovich, Kylene Hashim, who both ran the Choice Neighborhoods team. Because I also want to give HUD credit for the fact that Choice Neighborhoods as a HUD program was conceived as a program where it wasn't enough to just do brick and mortar redevelopment work. You had to really put together a whole wraparound team that was focused on the people. And so in a lot of ways, that design from the department drove this kind of incredible village that we have here today, like being welcomed into the project and actually being essential for the project. And so, again, federal partnership is an incredible thing when we have it. I want to also just acknowledge, I did it a little bit before, but the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities, headed now by Secretary Augustus, and with Undersecretary Kate Racer, who has spanned many administrations, including all of the ones that have given money to this project. They provided $24.5 million in direct subsidies, and like I said, a ton of state and federal LIHTC support for the project, so just a lot of funding. And then the city of Boston provided $8.8 million, including significant investment of IDP, Neighborhood Housing Trust funds. Again, someone who spanned many administrations. That was also under Chief Sheila Dillon then and now. So thank you, Sheila, for your incredible support here, and also real infrastructure investment from the streets team in Choice Way and Tenor Lane, and parks funding, and so really again sort of thinking about the whole community here. I also want to shout out our somewhat silent in the background but very important partner in all of this often, AFL-CIO Housing Investment Trust. I think I saw a bunch of them around. They're huge supporters of the BHA's projects, and I think I just heard them say they're going to double the amount that they do with us. So we're thrilled about that. But like I said, a partner for us in literally just about every transaction that we do here at the Boston Housing Authority, and not just a partner in fact, but a partner in heart and mission and care about our residents and the projects that we're doing, is Mass Housing. And so I'm really delighted to welcome up the incredible Chief Executive Officer of Mass Housing, Crystal Cornegay.
I almost tripped on my high heels. Good morning. Oh, come on. We got more life than that. Good morning. Good morning. There it is. There it is. I was remembering this morning when I was getting ready that I was telling Aaron and Roger this, almost 10 years ago to the day, because I had just started with the then Baker-Polito administration, and it was like 2 weeks in, and I got a call from POAH, and they were like, you've got to get the governor to sign this letter so that we can submit for our Whittier Housing Choice Award. I was like, WTF. I had not been sworn in. And so for those of you who are part of public service, you know that meant that I didn't actually work there yet. I wasn't on the payroll, I had nothing going on, and I'm just trying to figure out where the bathroom is. And so that was like a big deal. And so today, as I was like getting kind of ready for this, it just made me feel like what a great honor to go through this whole journey with the residents in particular, in different kinds of roles, right? One of the things we love about mass housing is, well, one of the things I love about mass housing is our work is really crucial, and we happen to come in at a critical point, but we are there with you through the end, right? It's like some people say, some of you know people who say, well, development is like a one-night stand, but property management ownership is like a marriage, right? And so we're married, right? And it's like things that happen to you, big and small, resident things, we're committed to you with our housing stability programs. When things happen in the economy related to costs, insurance costs and those things, we're committed to you. POAH communities gets to benefit from lots of the things that we have, and so we are very happy to be married together and to make sure that everybody is living here and thriving. Of course, I get to, do the thing where I sign the letter from the governor or whatever I'm supposed to do, but all those things that happen between signing the letter and this ribbon cutting happen by the group of people in the back. So thank you all, mass housing folks. And like, congratulations to everybody here, and, on to the next one.
All right. Next up, I do want to invite to share a few words former Mayor Kim Janey, really in several capacities, as a mayor who supported this project, as a former city councilor who supported this project, and also as the head of Empath, an organization that was a key part of this project and working with our residents, and actually a number of residents from Whittier joined the AMP Up program, a collaboration that the BHA and Empath have that's really been transforming workforce and educational certificate outcomes for a whole bunch of BHA residents. So she's an amazing partner, and I wanted her to say a few words.
Thank you so much, Administrator Bach. I will not talk long. So much has been said, and you've heard all of the important points. I do think it's important, though, to really lift up residents, and a lot has been said to lift up residents, so I certainly want to acknowledge Ms. Stephanie. I want to acknowledge our amazing speaker and all of the other residents. People may not know my own roots when it comes to public housing. My father was raised in Orchard Park projects just a few blocks from here. And he was always very proud of that point, and he lived there until he was 14 years old before moving to Cheney Street, also in Roxbury. And that pride that he always spoke about when he talked about his childhood home always stuck with me. And I didn't understand it because at that time, I'm in elementary school, middle school, and in high school, and the kids on the bus, you make fun of kids who are from the projects. It wasn't a point of pride. And my father always talked about Orchard Park with this pride in his voice. And I got to see firsthand what he was talking about as I did more and more work, working in housing developments across our city as an organizer, as an advocate, and then as a city councilor and having the honor of leading the city as mayor. So it is definitely a full circle moment, and just want to add some of the gratitude, just lift up people like Kenzie, like Kate, like Bill, certainly like Roger and Crystal, all of the amazing partners over on this side. Of course, our Mayor Wu, my new city councilor, our Councilor Culpepper, and our Congresswoman who had to step out, the city councilors that are here, the state representatives, state senators. It takes a village, but it is really the heart, the people. I would be remiss, though, if I didn't talk about empath and the word AMP. I do love this word AMP because we have a partnership, the Boston Housing Authority and Economic Mobility Pathways, the organization that I am blessed to lead today. And that partnership really is, again, lifting up residents. It is about how we ensure that our residents can live out their best lives. You heard our Congresswoman talk about how folks can be trapped by income and by zip codes. And we know here in this city, wherever you live, you deserve the opportunity to thrive, for your children to go to safe, wonderful schools and have great parks. And this community here, this village, truly represents that. And so I am grateful for the partnership between Economic Mobility Pathways, Empath, and the Boston Housing Authority, and all the many ways we will continue to work with residents. It isn't just about the ribbon cuttings and the groundbreakings and coming to celebrate. This is fun, but it is the day-to-day work that BHA and so many other partners, you heard all of the CDCs mentioned, that are doing with residents in our city. So I'm just grateful for all of you for being here, coming back to this full circle moment and celebrating this important milestone. Want to remind you, though, that the work is not done. The work is not done. We have to continue to do this work, and we have to continue to do it in partnership. And what a wonderful way to celebrate MLK weekend. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor Janey. And now, as the mayor said, our new District 7 councilor who represents this area and who we're just so thrilled to have doing it, not least because he's no stranger to HUD and to housing, is the councilor, Reverend Minyard Culpepper.
Thank you, Administrator Bach, and thank you for all that you do. Thank you, Mayor. City Councilor Ruthie Lujan, Madam Mayor, Roger reminded me not to forget him because I remember years ago. And so standing here today is really more than a ribbon cutting. It's a recognition of what's possible when we invest in people and honor the history of the community. Thank Stephanie Thomas, all the work that she does at Madison Park. She'll stand on corners, pass out literature for you, she'll work at polls, and she'll fight for affordable housing. I want to recognize Mike Milgannon from HUD. He's saying I didn't get it right, but Mike has been tirelessly working for affordable housing in the city of Boston. And this redevelopment represents a true transformation, one that protects affordability while creating opportunity and stability for families. Thank you to everyone who made this possible. Most importantly, the residents whose voices and leadership helped shape this vision. And this project stands as a model, not just for Boston, not just for the state, but as a model for the country, who put this community first and proves what's possible when development lifts up the people who call a place home. And I remember when I was still at HUD as the regional counsel, and for me, we focused on what I call neighborhood stabilization. And I talked a lot about that when I ran, but I also talked about gentrification and neutralizing gentrification through neighborhood stabilization. And this is exactly what happens here with this Whittier development. I remember, and I had a checklist as we looked at the city of Boston from a federal perspective. I was the regional counsel, and Washington would call and ask me, what about this development? What about that development? And they would always check with me before moving forward. And I remember Hope 6. If you remember Hope 6, money was building affordable housing all over the country. And you look at Orchard Gardens, Hope 6, Mission, Maine, Franklin Hill, Hope 6. And when it got to Whittier Street development, the Hope 6 money ran out. And Whittier Street missed that opportunity. And you heard Administrator Bach said it really was a blessing in disguise because it would have restricted the number of units. And as we looked at developing housing in the city of Boston, and I said I wasn't going to leave HUD until we got certain developments done. I wasn't going to leave until we got the demonstration disposition program done, where we transferred ownership to Academy Homes, transferred ownership to Canfield Gardens, transferred ownership to Franklin Park Apartments, transferred ownership to Maple, Schuyler, and Geneva. When you look at the work that we did, and so I was ready to leave HUD once I saw HUD gave Whittier Street that $30 million choice grant. I had fulfilled my commitment to HUD. And so when I look back at all that we've done, Aaron Gorstein and I go, I didn't want to say way back, we go back. But the partnerships that came together to make this happen. And what more fitting time to celebrate this ribbon cutting than on the celebration of Martin Luther King's weekend and holidays. And when I really think about what happened here, Mike, I think about the beloved community. And the beloved community is when everyone comes together and builds neighborhoods, builds people, and builds housing. And I just congratulate everyone for being an example and a role model for the country of what a beloved community is. Because when you look at what happens, Crystal, and you look at everyone that's here, this is truly an example, Mayor, of what a beloved community is. So I congratulate you for being the beloved community, and thank you for a job well done.
Thank you, Reverend Counselor. It's amazing to have somebody with such a deep history of HUD and deep history in this community leading now, so thank you. And last but not least, I want to invite up our at-large city councilor just to say a few words and close us out today. Councilor Rusi Louis-Jen represents the whole city of Boston and is a relentless housing advocate specifically, and so she's somebody that we know, whatever housing thing we are working on, she is in our corner, and so I would really love her to just say a few words.
Thank you so much, Administrator Bach. The program's already long enough. This is really incredibly beautiful. I want to thank Hakika. I want to thank Stephanie, who just celebrated her 75th birthday, y'all, who is out here and has just continued to advocate. Dr. King talked so much about the basics that every person needs, and everybody needs a safe, healthy place to call home. So to everyone who has been part of this work, we thank you. The work continues as the Reverend Counselor, because he's also an attorney, y'all, Culpepper. I don't know what to call him yet, but as he stated, it's still, and it's a work that we believe in on the council. I'm happy to be here with him as a new colleague. Councilor Santana's staff is here. But as everyone has stated, this is the beloved community, and we have to bend the moral arc of the universe towards justice because it doesn't bend on its own. So thank you, everyone, and congratulations for this beautiful day.
Thank you all for coming. If I can just ask that speakers and our resident leaders come up and join us for a photo here, and then I think someone else will come to the mic with the details, but again, just reminding folks there is an opportunity for a tour, including of the amazing roof deck, although it's very cold today, but beautiful. So so just thank you all for being with us. Thank you so much.
If you'd like to be in the photo, please make your way to the podium area. And again, there will be tours leaving from the hall. There are 4 tour guides. Feel free to take a tour of the amenities, and there will be refreshments on the first floor. Thank you for coming.